Picture this. You wake up tomorrow morning, and someone hands you a manual. It's thick, leather-bound, and has your name on it. Inside, every page tells you exactly who you're supposed to be, what job you should have, who you should marry, what you should believe, how you should think. Sounds terrifying, right? Well, here's the thing. Most of us are already living with that manual. We just didn't realize someone else wrote it. I'm here today to tell you about a French philosopher who looked at that manual, tore it up, and said something revolutionary. You don't need anyone else's permission to be yourself. In fact, you're the only one who gets to decide who you are. His name was Jean-Paul Sartre, and his ideas might just change how you see your entire life. Let me start with something simple. This fork. What's its purpose? To help us eat. It was designed with that specific function in mind. If this fork suddenly decided it didn't want to be a fork anymore, if it wanted to be a paintbrush or a musical instrument, we'd probably say it's a bad fork. Same with a train. A train is built to transport people and goods from point A to point B. If it fails to do that, we call it a bad train. Trust me, as someone who's dealt with delayed trains, I know exactly what a bad train looks like. But here's the million-dollar question. Are human beings like forks and trains? Do we come with a built-in instruction manual? Do we have a predetermined purpose that someone else designed for us? Jean-Paul Sartre said absolutely not. And this idea, this one simple idea, is about to blow your mind. Sartre gave us 3 words that can transform your entire worldview. Existence precedes essence. Now, I know that sounds like philosophical jargon, so let me break it down for you. With objects like forks and trains, essence comes first. Someone designs them with a purpose. Then they're brought into existence. Purpose first, existence second. But with human beings, it's completely backwards. We exist first. We're born, we're here, we're alive, and then we create our own essence. We define our own purpose. Think about that for a moment. You weren't designed by some cosmic engineer with a specific job description in mind. You weren't manufactured in a factory with predetermined settings. You came into this world as a blank canvas, and you, and only you, get to decide what masterpiece to paint on it. Now, where did this revolutionary idea come from? Let me tell you about the man behind it. Jean-Paul Sartre lost his father when he was just 1 year old. He grew up with his mother and his grandfather, a devout Protestant who represented everything traditional, everything proper, everything that said, this is how life should be lived. But Sartre looked at all those traditional rules, all those expectations, and said, "Nope, I'm not buying it." When his mother remarried, his stepfather brought even more of those bourgeois values. The idea that there's a right way to live, a proper path to follow. Sartre rejected it all. He partnered with Simone de Beauvoir, another brilliant philosopher, and together they lived life on their own terms. They had an open relationship that shocked society. They challenged every convention. They proved that you could write your own rules for how to love, how to live, how to be. And unlike many philosophers before him, Sartre was an atheist. He didn't believe in God, which meant he didn't believe there was some divine authority up there telling us how to live our lives. Which brings us to the most important question. If there's no cosmic instruction manual, if there's no divine boss telling us what to do, what does that mean for how we live? It means you are free. Not just a little bit free. Not just free on weekends. You are radically, completely, absolutely free. Every single moment of every single day, you are making choices. What to wear, what to eat, how to respond to that difficult coworker, whether to call your mother, whether to pursue that dream or play it safe. And here's what's both beautiful and terrifying. Every one of those choices is creating who you are. You're not discovering some pre-existing self. You're not uncovering some hidden truth about who you're meant to be. You are creating yourself, choice by choice, moment by moment. Sartre put it perfectly. Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. Let me give you an example. Maybe you're in a job you hate. You wake up every Monday morning with dread. You count down the hours until Friday. You tell yourself, I have no choice. I need the money. I have bills to pay. I'm stuck. Sartre would say you're lying to yourself. You do have a choice. You have infinite choices. You could quit tomorrow. You could move to another city. You could go back to school. You could start your own business. You could sell everything and travel the world. You could become a street performer. You could run for political office. Now, do all of these choices have consequences? Absolutely. Some might lead to financial hardship. Some might disappoint your family. Some might seem irresponsible. But they're still choices. The consequences don't eliminate your freedom. They're just part of the equation you get to consider. Now, here's where it gets heavy. This freedom, this beautiful, unlimited freedom, comes with a price tag. Responsibility. If you are completely free to create your own life, then you are completely responsible for what you create. There's no God to blame, no parents to point fingers at, no society to use as an excuse. It's all on you. This is what terrified people about Sartre's philosophy. And honestly, it should be a little scary. Because it means that every single thing about your life, your career, your relationships, your values, your impact on the world, is your responsibility. But here's the beautiful part. It also means that every single thing about your life is your creation, your masterpiece, your work of art. When Sartre said we're responsible for our lives, he didn't just mean the big decisions. He meant everything, even the things we can't control, what he called facticity. You can't control where you were born. You can't control your skin color, your height, your family's economic situation. These are facts about your life that you didn't choose. But you can control how you respond to these facts. You can control what you do with the hand you've been dealt. And that response, that's where your essence gets created. That's where you become who you are. Now, if freedom is so amazing, why do so many people run from it? Because freedom is terrifying. Think about it. When you were a kid, someone else made all the big decisions for you. What school you'd attend, what clothes you'd wear, what time you'd go to bed. It was simple. It was safe. Someone else was responsible. But as an adult, every door is open, every path is possible, and that's overwhelming. What should I do with my life? What career should I choose? Should I get married? Should I have kids? Should I move to a different city? A different country? What do I believe? What values should guide me? When the answer to every question is whatever you choose, it can feel paralyzing. So what do most people do? They pretend they don't have choices. They convince themselves that their circumstances, their upbringing, their situation leaves them no option but to do what they're doing. Sartre called this bad faith, and he believed it was one of the most destructive things we do to ourselves. Bad faith is when you know you're free, but you pretend you're not. You know you have choices, but you act like you don't. Let me paint you a picture. There's a person. Let's call them Alex. Alex works in accounting. Alex hates accounting. Alex has always hated accounting. Alex dreams of being a writer, or a teacher, or starting a non-profit. But Alex says, I can't change careers. I have a mortgage, I have kids, I have responsibilities. I'm stuck. Alex is living in bad faith. Alex does have choices. They might be difficult choices. They might require sacrifice. They might take time, but they exist. Alex could downsize the house, could take writing classes at night, could slowly transition careers, could move to a place with a lower cost of living, could find a way to make it work. But it's easier to say, I have no choice, than to face the scary reality of infinite possibility. And here's what's really tragic about bad faith. When we deny our freedom, we deny our humanity. We turn ourselves into things, like forks and trains, that simply fulfill their predetermined functions. We stop being creators of our own lives and become victims of our circumstances. Now, there's another reason we run from freedom, and Sartre understood this deeply. It's other people. Sartre famously said, "Hell is other people." Now, he didn't mean that people are inherently evil. He meant that other people's opinions, judgments, and expectations can trap us. Have you ever felt like you're being watched? Like people are judging your choices? Like you need to live up to someone else's standards? That's the look. Sartre's term for how other people's perceptions shape us, often in ways that limit our freedom. Maybe your parents expect you to be a doctor, but you want to be an artist. Maybe your community expects you to follow a certain religious path, but your heart leads you elsewhere. Maybe your friends expect you to party every weekend, but you'd rather stay home and read. The pressure to conform, to meet expectations, to be what others want us to be. This is one of the biggest obstacles to authentic living. But here's what Sartre realized. You can't escape the influence of others entirely. We're social beings. We live in community. Other people's opinions will always affect us to some degree. The key is recognizing when you're letting their opinions define you, instead of just inform you. Here's something that might surprise you. Sartre believed that when you make choices about your own life, you're also making choices for all of humanity. Wait, what? Think about it this way. Every choice you make sends a message about what you believe is valuable, what you think matters, how you believe the people should live. When you choose to be honest instead of lying, you're not just choosing for yourself. You're saying, I believe honesty is valuable. I believe this is how humans should behave. When you choose to help someone in need, you're saying, I believe we should care for each other. When you choose to pursue your passion instead of just chasing money, you're saying, I believe we should follow our authentic desires. Your life is not just your own private experiment. It's a statement to the world about what human life can be. This is both inspiring and heavy. Every choice you make is like dropping a stone in a pond. The ripples spread out and affect everything around you. So how do we break free from bad faith? How do we start living authentically? How do we embrace this terrifying, beautiful freedom? First, recognize that you are free. Right now, in this moment, you have more choices than you think you do. Stop telling yourself, I have no voice, and start asking, what are my options? Second, take responsibility. Not blame, responsibility. Stop waiting for someone else to fix your life, to give you permission, to tell you what to do. You're the author of your own story. Third, accept the anxiety. Freedom is scary. Uncertainty is uncomfortable. Making your own meaning in a universe that doesn't provide one, that's hard work. But that discomfort, that's the price of authenticity. Fourth, remember that authenticity doesn't mean selfishness. Your choices affect others. Your freedom comes with the responsibility to consider how your actions impact the world around you. Here's the beautiful paradox of Sartre's philosophy. By accepting that life has no predetermined meaning, we become free to create meaning that actually matters to us. By accepting that there's no cosmic authority telling us how to live, we become free to live according to our deepest values. By accepting that we're completely responsible for our choices, we become empowered to make choices that truly reflect who we want to be. This is the difference between living someone else's life and living your life. This is the difference between following a script written by your parents, your culture, your fears, and writing your own script. This is the difference between being a fork that fulfills its predetermined function and being a human being who creates their own purpose. So here's my challenge to you today. Look at your life. Really look at it. Are you living in bad faith? Are you pretending you don't have choices when you do? Are you letting other people define who you're supposed to be? Are you following a script that someone else wrote for your life? Or are you embracing your freedom? Are you taking responsibility for creating your own meaning? Are you living authentically, even when it's scary, even when it's hard, even when other people don't understand? Your life is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. This is your one shot to create something meaningful, something authentic, something that reflects who you truly are. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need to wait for the right moment or the perfect circumstances. You are free, right here, right now. You are free to quit that job you hate. You are free to call that person you've been thinking about. You are free to start that project you've been putting off. You are free to change direction, to try something new, to surprise everyone, including yourself. You are free to define yourself instead of letting others do it for you. The canvas is blank. The paintbrush is in your hand. The only question is, what masterpiece will you create? As Sartre said, man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. So, what will you make of yourself? Before you go out there and start creating your authentic life, I want to ask you for a small favor. If this talk resonated with you, if it made you think differently about your freedom, your choices, your life, please hit that like button. It tells me that these ideas matter to you, and it helps other people discover this message too. And if you believe that more people need to hear about the power of living authentically, of not letting others define who they are, then please share this video. Send it to that friend who's stuck in a job they hate. Send it to that family member who's always worried about what others think. Send it to anyone who needs to be reminded that they have the power to write their own story. And hey, if you want to dive deeper into philosophy that can change your life, if you want more insights about how to live with purpose, meaning, and authenticity, then subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Because we're just getting started on this journey of philosophical exploration. Remember, every time you choose to engage with ideas that challenge you, every time you choose to grow and learn and question, you're exercising that beautiful, terrifying freedom that Sartre talked about. You're choosing to become who you want to be. The canvas is blank. The paintbrush is in your hand. The only question is, what masterpiece will you create? Thank you.